What's up, Apple Gang? Thanks for tuning back into my video. I'm Nakia, and today I will be detailing what I do on a daily basis at my job. So if you are interested into seeing and hearing what I do on a daily basis, then stay tuned. Of course, you guys know I always have my handy dandy notes so that I won't get off track and forget things. So, in case you don't know, guys, and I'm going to put it across the screen, the name of my job, or the title of my job, is an allergen immunotherapy nurse. And what that means is I administer allergy shots to my patients. And so, guys, this job I love it. It's very fast paced, but it can also go from 0 to 100 real quick. So my responsibilities are to just administer the vaccine or injections, and we have to go by certain protocols afterwards. And I'm going to go into detail in just a second. So guys, I work Monday through Friday. My hours are 7:45 to 4:15. Sometimes it can go over the 4:15 slot, which I'm perfectly fine. I typically see 30 plus patients a day. I think the most I've seen could be maybe 32 or 33, which is fine. So I'm going to detail, when I arrive until, the patient leaves. So I typically, by my hours are 7:45, I like to get there a little early. So sometimes I arrive there maybe between 7:35, 7:40. I'll go in, and I'll wipe down my desk. I wipe down my phone, my computer, my chair that the patient has to sit in every day. I try to wipe that down after each patient. And a huge thing that I also wipe down is the door handles and the doorknob. I was going to put in a little clip of my office, but I didn't want to, get too personal with where I work. So I just omitted that part. So guys, when you come in each day, you just try to be clean, keep everything just as spotless as you can. I don't touch anything with my bare hands until everything has been disinfected. So guys, I just try to wipe down everything that I know I'm going to touch or have all of the necessary items that I use throughout the day. I just have to wipe that area down before anything touches it. Then after I sanitize my desk and the chair and everything, I take those gloves off, I throw them in the trash, and then I wash my hands. It's nothing like the first hand wash before you start work and that last hand wash when you get ready to leave. It signifies your day. So guys, my room consists of shot room 1. And of course, shot room 1 because my very first patient starts at 8 o'clock. Sometimes when I get in, my patient is already there. But typically, the first patient is 8 o'clock. I don't pull that patient back until 8 o'clock because technically that's when the day begins. That's when the provider is normally there before 8, but I don't actually call my patient back into the shot room until 8 o'clock. That's just a safety net for me. Okay, so, but before I pull my patient back, I always check the schedule to make sure there weren't any cancellations or any add-ons. And if there were, then I'll just go ahead and cross out the patient or patients who are not coming or who canceled. And then I always print out a new schedule for that day. Okay, then after I print off the new schedule, I always check the vials that the allergy injections are in. And I do this, a day before because I always, like say for instance, if today is Monday, then I will go ahead and try to pull the next 2 days worth of allergy injection vials. And if they're getting the other injections, which I will explain about that in a little bit too. So I always like to be 2 days ahead of schedule, just in case if something needs to be reordered or remade, I can give the pharmacy tech a heads up as to what needs to be made or what I need more of. Okay, and I have this little, it's a long blue tray that's got like holes in it, and that fits each vial. I should have took a picture of that, but guys, I don't want to get too much detail, for one, because of HIPAA, And for 2 is, I really didn't think about taking a picture of the tray, but it's just a long blue tray, dark blue tray, and it's got holes in it. So if you can just imagine a long tray with holes in it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Enough for a little small vial to just stick into the little holes is what we use. And I just make sure all of my vials are in order according to my daily schedule. Okay, so picture it being 8 o'clock and I'm getting ready to call my first patient back. And once I call the patient back and we get into my shot room, I sanitize my hands, and then I ask for 2 patient identifiers. And that's normally the patient's name and the date of birth. Make sure everything matches. Once that matches, I can proceed. And before I even administer the injection, there are a set of questions that I have to ask my patients. The very first question that I have to ask, and this is mandatory, all patients have to bring in their EpiPen. Let me repeat. All patients are required to bring in their EpiPen. If they do not have their EpiPen with them, they cannot get the injection. Because again, guys, safety's first. And just in case, if they have a reaction or anything, or if they start to feel out of the normal, they have to use their own EpiPen. We don't have EpiPens for them to use at work. EpiPen is their responsibility. So, very first question I ask, do you have your EpiPen? And I have to physically see it so that I can check the expiration. It cannot be expired. That's another way a patient cannot receive their injection. If they don't have their EpiPen with them, or if they bring an expired EpiPen. So, safety's first. The second question I ask, your last injection, did you have any issues? Whether it's swelling, whether it's soreness, whether it's a rash or hives, or if they had any breathing issues. If they say no, then I can proceed and go ahead and ask the next set of questions. But if they said yes, I had diarrhea, which I do have a patient that had that side effect. That was the first time we ever heard of that, but we pause and we always go and talk with the provider of the day. Each day we have a different provider that we have to sign off the charts to. So if the patient has any kind of side effects or has any kind of swelling from the last injection, I pause. I can either, if it was a small, like a dime size redness or swelling, then I can either repeat their last dose. But me being kind of new to this area, well, I'm not really new, but because I've been there, going on 4 months, but practically new. But just to make myself feel safe and make the patient feel safe, because we are our patients' advocates, I will just tell the patient, give me about a couple of minutes, and I will go and discuss it with the allergist of today. So I will go and talk to Dr. So-and-so, let he or she know that the patient had a small dime-sized rash. And if the provider may say, well, let's just go ahead and repeat the last dose, I will do that. Or if this patient is known to have a lot of reactions, then the provider may tell me to drop them back down even further. So whatever the provider tells me to do, that's what I do. And then I also document that in the comment section under the immunotherapy tab. So guys, like I said, everything that I do, I have to be safe with, and whatever the provider tells me to do, I have to follow that order. And always document. I say CYA, and that's cover your, Okay, so you're asking for the EpiPen, you got to see the expiration. Then you ask about their last injection, if they had any issues. The next question that I ask is, now I should know these, they should just roll off my tongue, right? The next question is, do they take any beta blockers? Because when you take beta blockers along with antihistamine, or if you're receiving allergy injections, that can interfere and it might throw you into a reaction. Now, mind you, we do have a few patients at the clinic that has to take beta blockers. and they may have some kind of heart condition. So that's needed. So we'll just mark yes that they're taking it, and then we'll just proceed. But if they are just brand new, fresh, taking a beta blocker, and they have not told the allergist about it, then I have to pause again and go and speak with the allergist of today to just see if I should proceed or if we should give the injection at all. So that's another thing I have to ask. So that's 3 things. The next question is, are they taking any antihistamine? Some patients do, some patients don't. It's just totally up to them, because this may not be their first rodeo of taking allergy injections. Some people have been on these injections for maybe like a couple of years. Some people have been on it for most of their lives. So yes or no, and I'll put that in. Another question that we ask is, have they had any vaccinations in the last 2 days? And will they be having any vaccinations in the next 2 days? Because when you're taking these allergy injections, you are not supposed to take any kind of vaccinations 2 days prior and 2 days afterwards, because again, that can throw you into, it could possibly cause a reaction. And I'm trying to think, did I miss anything about these pertinent questions? Seeing their pen, asking about the last injection. Do they take any beta blockers? Any vaccinations? Antihistamine? And if they are asthmatic, have they used their albuterol inhaler within the last 24 hours? And do they have asthma? That's another set of questions. Are they feeling ill today? Are they running a fever? Have they been running a fever today? So all of these questions that we have to ask before we even administer the injection are very, very important, because it can predict whether we give the injection or if we don't give the injection. But again, it all plays into safety as well. Okay, so I will insert a little chart that explains the build-up schedule and the maintenance schedule. If a patient is building up, or if a patient is new to getting allergy injections, we have 5 different vials that we administer. We have silver, we have green, we have blue, we have yellow, and we have red. All injections begin with a dose of 0.05 milliliters, and it goes from that all the way down to 0.5. 0.5 is a maintenance dose of each colored vial. And when I say colored vial, it's just a cap on the vial that has different colors. So you'll start off with silver and you'll work your way up to red. Everybody gets excited when they get to the red vial, because that is the very last vial that they have to get. And once they get up to 0.5 milliliters, they are at their maintenance dose. They no longer have to keep coming every week. Some patients come twice in a week, and that's just to speed up their process. But sometimes that can be a little too much once they get over the 0.25, because you're technically not supposed to get more than 0.5 in 1 week. I repeat, if they are choosing to come twice a week, they cannot get more than 0.5 in a week. But again, some people still come twice a week, even when they get past that 0.25 marker. So I guess if the doctor says it's fine with them and they haven't had any issues, then they can proceed. Me, if I was the patient, I would only come once a week, and I'll just gradually build up. Yes, it will be a longer process, but it's much safer in the long run. Okay, so 5 vials. It begins at 0.05, and you work your way up to 0.5 mLs. And a little chart, let's say for instance, a patient comes and gets their very first injection on, let's say March 17th, my birthday. So March 17th falls on a Monday. If they come once a week, their next injection date should be March 24th, which is 7 days. If they come on that 7th day, they're good. They can proceed to 0.1 mLs. let's say something happens and they come 2 weeks, which is what, March 31st? Okay, if they come on March 31st, that technically in that build-up schedule, they have to repeat that 0.05 mLs. So at first when I started this, I was getting a little thrown off because when you're in the build-up schedule, you have to count the actual days from their last injection. Like say for instance, the 17th is when they got it. They were supposed to have been here on the 24th, but they didn't come till the 31st. So technically the 17th through the 31st is 14 days. So they have to repeat that 0.05 dose. However, if they are in their maintenance field, like say for instance, they're on the red vial and they are, let's say, they are monthly, they're at 0.5, okay? And when they come back and their vial has expired, so when their vial has expired, we are supposed to reorder that vial before they come back in. All right, let's say Tom comes in and he has a brand new vial. So he can't get 0.5 again because the red vial is the most potent strength out of all 5 vials. So typically when you get a brand new vial, you are supposed to start at the lowest dose. Now, when you're in the maintenance schedule, he's already met the 0.5. So now he can come every 1 to 4 weeks. Some people come every 2 to 4 weeks. But long as he comes within that 1 month time, a new red vial, you are going to start off with 0.25. Now, guys, I know it is a little confusing, but just to say that safety is first, the red cap vial is the highest potency. So when my patients have a new fresh vial, and they know when they have a new fresh vial, you can't give him or her 0.5 again with a fresh vial. You have to drop them back down because red is the most potent. So, and it's typically 0.25, 0.35, and then they go back to 5. So when they receive that 0.25 milliliters of that fresh vial, they have to come the next 2 weeks to build back up to maintenance. And I have to stress that to the patient to go ahead and schedule 2 more weeks and you will be back at maintenance. Majority of the time they do go ahead and schedule it, once they're waiting out their 20 minutes, because after each allergy injection, I have to monitor them for 20 minutes. And so you are not allowed to leave the building at all because that's a huge liability to us. And I can get in trouble for it too. So I have to explain to each patient, you have to wait your full 20 minutes. Now, if you need to go to the bathroom or go up front and schedule your next appointments, that's perfectly fine. I'd rather they do that before they actually leave because anytime you're working in a specialty clinic, those appointments go quickly. So it's best to go ahead and either schedule your next appointment while you're checking in or while you're waiting your 20 minutes or before you leave, because chances are you may not get an appointment scheduled. So you have to keep calling back to see if there were any cancellations, see if there are any open slots on the schedule. Sometimes there will be, but most times there won't. So it's best to go ahead and do it while you're in the clinic. Okay, and again, I mentioned after each injection, the patient has to wait a full 20 minutes, and that's to monitor for any kind of side effects, any kind of breathing issues. I typically, say for instance, after I administer an injection and I send the patient out to the waiting room, I come back in and I finish documenting that particular patient's chart. Okay? And I have a habit. I do not sit down at work. I always stand. The only time you'll catch me sitting down is if I don't have any patients yet or if I'm on break. That's it. That's just me. I'm leery to the fact of I want my patients to be okay. Let me check on my patients and see if they're okay. So I can't just sit in my room and be sitting down. I mean, that just does something to me. I can't do it. I mean, or even have the door shut. I can't do it. My door is always open. If somebody needs me, they can just rush on in. And that's another thing that I do tell the patients. If at any time you feel like, you're out of the normal, you're not feeling good, you're not breathing well, even if I have a patient in my room, come knocking on my door. Knock on my door. And my other, the other shot nurse, her office is right across from the waiting room where they sit. My office, I have to literally come out of my room and go around the corner to see them. But she can actually turn around and look out the door and see them. So she's got my back as well. But still, I like to check on my patients. Again, after I give the injection, after I finish documenting, I always go back out because I have to put up their vials anyway, and I have to put up their sheets. So as I'm walking out and crossing over the waiting room, I'm looking at them and they look at me, and I can see in their eyes how they're feeling, So they always give me a smile or a thumbs up to let me know they're doing okay. And that's reassuring to them as well. Not just sitting in the office, staying in there. And, some of them are being like, well, hey, she said she was going to come back and check on me, but I haven't seen her. I don't want to be that kind of nurse that feels like, well, I stuck them, they'll be okay. No, that's not me. I have to go out there and physically see them when I walk by the first time. And when I finish putting my things away, when I come back, I'm giving them eye contact and asking them if they're okay. That's just me. Everybody ain't me. Okay. And again, I just stress to make sure that they schedule their appointment before they leave, because that is crucial for them to advance to the much higher doses. Okay, so that is pretty much what I do as far as the allergy injections. Now, I do also administer something we call biologics, and we have we have 4 different kinds. And I'm going to insert a picture of what they look like as I mentioned the name. The most popular one that I give on a daily basis is called Xolair. It's Xolair. The X is pronounced as a Z, but this is the most requested biologic injection that I do in a day. Now, this particular medication comes in a vial, similar to the allergy injection vial, and it also comes in the one where the injector pen. So the one that's in a vial, we have to literally mix with sterile water. And so from the picture that you see, we have to pop the caps, and then we'll just mix the amount of sterile water into each vial. And dad, y'all, I should have shown you the picture of the actual machine that we have to mix it with. But I'm going to try and insert a picture. If not, guys, charge it to my head, not my heart. But it's like a little blue machine. It's got a styrofoam cup and it's got holes on top. And after we insert the sterile water in with the solution, we have to turn it upside down into the little holes, hit the mix button, and it just literally shakes it up so that the sterile water and the powder mixes up. And that typically takes maybe 10-15 minutes. And then once it mixes, once it gets bubbly and kind of clear, you can see where the bubbles and the solution is kind of like separating. That's when I'll stop it, let it sit for a few minutes, and then I'll get ready to withdraw it into the syringes. But guys, I used to be so nervous when I first started out doing this. But I had a great preceptor. She is awesome. And until this day, she is still awesome. If I have any questions, she's always there to help me out. So guys, if you have a great preceptor that's not afraid to, be a preceptor, you got it made. I know I'm so blessed and fortunate to have a great preceptor. And she really, to this day, has shown me the ropes. She's part of the main reason why I want to remain in this clinic. Guys, she is just awesome. And, you know, when you got somebody that's training, you know, you want to have that great attitude that you want this person to receive everything that you're giving them, but you also want them to grasp it, you know. And I feel like I have grasped a lot of great knowledge from her. She has shown me all of the ropes, you know, all of the cool tips and tricks to just make my day so smooth, and my hat just goes off to her. Okay, so with Xolair, if you are brand new to Xolair, the patient will have to come 3 times. And in those 3 times, after each injection, the patient has to wait a full 2 hours after each injection. It's a long wait, but I understand why it's so long. Oh, and also, before the injection is given, I have to take a blood pressure, pulse, and oxygen on my patient, just to make sure that, you know, their vitals are good before the injection. And then once those 2 hours are done, I take another blood pressure to make sure that the vitals are still within limits. Now, sometimes, you know, any doctor's office that you go to, your blood pressure may be a little elevated. And I always compare it to frequent visits. So, but if it's just really high, then before they leave, I'll get the doctor to come in and let them know what's what. So you always want to CYA on anything that you're, you know, that's not normal, put it that way. And then after those 3 injections that they do, that I have to take a blood pressure, pre and post injection, their visits will be cut down to 30 minutes. And also with Xolair, I do have to physically see their EpiPen as well and check the expiration date. Alrighty. Fasenra is another one, and the picture is up here. In Fasenra, we do have the injector pen, and we also have the, well, both are injector pens, but they look different. One is much easier to push, really easy. I love Fasenra. Fasenra is the only one that doesn't have to see, well, I don't have to see their EpiPen. Now, if they're new to Fasenra, they do have to wait 2 hours, but I think it's the first 2 visits for Fasenra. After that, they don't have to wait at all. I just make sure, you know, they're feeling good, you know, they're, you know, upbeat, just like they came in, then they're good to go. So for Fasenra, the first 2, they have to wait 2 hours. Then after that, they can skedaddle. Another one is called Nucala. Now, I haven't given Nucala yet, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm pretty sure if they are brand new to receiving Nucala, they have to wait 2 hours as well. I will insert a little picture on what that looks like, but that one is the one that I have to draw up and mix as well. And, you know, it'll be in a little shaker. And finally, we have Tespire. Tespire is a good one too. It's also the injector pen, so really easy to administer. I probably can count on one hand how many times I've given Tespire. It's not a lot, but if they're brand new to it, all of them, you have to wait a minimum of 2 hours. So that's just a given. And if they're new to any of them, you know, blood pressure is done pre and post as well. So guys, I think that is basically all of my notes as to what I do on a daily basis. Guys, if you have any questions or concerns, please jot them down in the description box. You know I'm good for getting back to you. Gosh, guys, this video, I said it was gonna be 30 minutes and it's 29 minutes and some change. But guys, I really wanted to be more in depth with this video because this is my daily work. Excuse me, and I love what I do. My hat goes off to my preceptor. She has shown me the ropes, and it's a great feeling to just get up in the mornings and actually love what you do. And that's me. And I'm not getting on here to brag or boast about what I do, but guys, I really do love what I do. And it shows because I come in and I get started on my job, on my day, and all of my patients are like, how do you stay so chipper and so positive? And I've gotten that question before. And it's, for one, I think it's because I've always been a morning person. You know, sometimes I'm up before my alarm goes off, and, you know, I just give God all the praises and glory before my feet hit the floor every single morning. So that's one reason why I'm such a positive person. You know, two, look at all this stuff that's going on in the world. You know, I'm not a type of person that sits there and just watches the news. I don't even have it on my phone. We don't have cable. We have like the Fire Stick. We have, you know, internet, and I'll have all the streaming services. But I don't even care to watch the news, guys. If I'm watching anything, it's probably just the weather, you know. And I do have that on my phone. But as far as watching the news is just so depressing. I mean, and that puts you in a negative mood, you know, everything that's going on in the world. So it's nothing good. It's always something bad, something negative, something is always happening. So I just disregard it. I don't even bother to look at it. So that's another reason why I stay positive all the time. I like to hear great things, good things that's going on. You know, that's my motivation. But I'm just a positive person. I always have been. Even with some of my family and friends, you know, once they start talking negative and, you know, things ain't going right for me, I'll try to spin it around and say something positive, you know, and it's up to them if they want to receive it. So guys, you can choose who to be around and who not to be around. You know, you can choose what to listen to or what to look at, you know, if you want to. So guys, I'm all for positivity. So again, if you have any questions or concerns about what I do on a daily basis, jot it down in the description box and I will get back to you. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was kind of lengthy, but again, I wanted to let you guys know what I do on a daily basis. So guys, until then, be blessed and be safe.